So I did not think that I was going to make a follow-up to my previous Block Tales video very soon, but with a lot of information that I have found by going through the game once again, and also needing to make some amendments to things that I said in the previous video, I feel the need to just come on here and, well, talk. So yeah, let's get into that. Before we begin, I'm just going to jump into this. I'm working on 2 videos right now because I just hit 25,000 subscribers. Thank you for that, by the way, but I just need time to work on those, so I'm just going to push out this little quickie here. The first thing that I want to do is touch on a mistake that I made in my previous video, which was kind of the crux of me thinking that the shadowy figure in the pre-prologue was Yorick, who is an alter ego of Shedletsky. I no longer believe this to be the case. This being Yorick was specifically founded on the belief that there was a skull head underneath the Dominus, which ended up just being a trick of the light. However, I do think that this is definitely Shedletsky, or just an alias that he is putting on due to just the amount of suspicious things that he does in the game. But I don't think this is Yorick in particular. There's no skull here, this is just a shadow. Yeah. Another thing very interesting is the fact that this mysterious figure is missing an arm and still has this Dominus. This Dominus is something that is worn and owned by Shedletsky and multiple of his alt accounts. They used it here for a very specific reason. Shedletsky has a very popular avatar in which he is white and purple and black, and he has this Dominus on, and one of his arms is kind of obscured. So this could very well still be him, just cloaked in shadow. So I still definitely think this is Shedletsky, and in fact, I have much more evidence of Shedletsky being weird in this game to talk about. The first thing that I want to point out, because it's kind of disconnected from everything else, is when you're in Greed's area within the dream world. As you know, there are many mannequins around that just say various things, referring to the greed of the player. And the greed of the player is specifically talked about with a very specific yellow hue. However, there is one mannequin that is closer to the front that talks about Shedletsky as well as us using the greed color. You can see it's very subtle, but there are distinctly 2 different shades of yellow here, with the yellow for him and he referring to Shedletsky and Telmon, who are also all the same shade of yellow. It's talking about how apparently Shedletsky doesn't trust us with the swords, even though we're doing this for him, and he is trying to take them from us. This isn't something that's happened in the game yet, but considering that this whole game is on a time loop, perhaps this is foreshadowing what is to come in the future. Maybe this is all part of Shedletsky's plan that he was talking about in Demo 4, about the pieces all falling into place. However, there is much more evidence that I have found that shows that this whole thing has been planned from the start, and Shedletsky knows way more than he should. But before we do that, I want to once again derail a tiny bit and talk about Telmon and Shedletsky. I've seen a lot of people trying to say that Telmon isn't Shedletsky. I don't know why or how they can think this because of what I know. I apologize that I didn't really talk too much about why Shedletsky and Telmon are the same person in this game. I know that just because they're the same account holder in real life doesn't necessarily correlate to them being the same in the game. However, the game does go out of its way to say that they are the same character, and I'm going to prove it to you now. There is dialogue in the 3rd demo where Shedletsky talks about how he placed zombies around the manor to guard it, and the manor he calls them evil undead. They're not actually evil though, he says that they just regenerate every night. Now how would he know this if this wasn't his manor? How can he place these things here if he has no control over the afterlife in any sort of way? Because he's just an admin, he's not some sort of spiritual being. Unless he is Telmon. If you're still not convinced, then I don't know what can put it plainer than him calling this my mansion. He says that this is his mansion. He literally says this. He says this. It's right there. He's saying that Telmon's manor is his mansion. It's not, Telmon is not some separate being, otherwise he wouldn't have called it his mansion. This is his mansion. This just is his mansion. He is Telmon. He has control over the undead. He's able to manipulate spirits. He knows that they're able to regenerate every night. He knows that they're not evil because he put them there. He knows. He has powers that are so far beyond what we are being shown, and he's just masking it for whatever reason. He has the ability to turn into this being, and yet he just doesn't. He doesn't interfere. He doesn't help us. He knew that the firebrand was away. It did not have a sword guardian. It was isolated. He knew this. That's what he told us. That's why we were doing this one and not any of the other swords right now. He knew this. He could have helped. He could have intervened. He could have perhaps saved Captain Trotter from the ancients, since he has this power over spirits, as shown with the ghost chef, kitchen wizard, whatever, I forgot. It's one of the two. He has that power. He can reach from way far beyond where he is. The kitchen wizard died in Blackrock, and he was able to do this from his wheelchair, go into the spirit world and grab him. He could have done the same with Captain Trotter, but he didn't. He only manipulates things if it helps us get the swords. And saving Captain Trotter would not have gotten him the sword. So he just doesn't intervene. Now let's go back to the pre-prologue. One thing that is very interesting is how both Builderman and Terry remember that all of these events have occurred. Builderman recognizes the shadow figure and says, "Wait, this wasn't supposed to happen yet." He knew that the events of the game would play out, even though they seemingly never happened yet for the player. However, this just goes to show that this is a cyclical loop where things happen at specific times, with the only variable this time being the shadow guy showing up earlier than he was supposed to. So this Builderman already knows the entire plot of the game, and this also would explain why the player is a VIP, why they are allowed to enter alongside all these developers and just be here. They were given an invitation, a special invitation. This is likely also why Terry was there, because he played a large part in saving Roblox all those years ago. It begs the question, why wouldn't Shedletsky be here? Why wouldn't he, who also would have helped us because he was the one leading us to get the swords, why wouldn't he also be here? And that's because he's no longer with the company. But why is that in this game universe? Well, it is because I believe he is the main antagonist. And there is even more evidence that I can pull from to show this. For example, in the very beginning of the game, as soon as we arrive in the past, what does the receptionist of the hotel say? They call us out by name and tell us that John Shedletsky has given us an invitation to meet him at Roblox HQ immediately after we travel back from the future. How in the world does he know who we are? He knows us by name. He knew that we were going to be at this hotel. How does he know that? How does he know that? The only way he knows that is if this has all been planned out and has happened before. He planned this whole thing out. It is no coincidence that the second that you are sent back to the past, immediately he has a letter waiting for you, which means that the letter had likely been sent before you even arrived in the past. That is how far back he was planning. Before we even exited the present to enter the past, he had a letter waiting for us. He knew that this was going to happen before the events of the timeline even occurred. If this was the opposite, where we were in the past and then traveled to the future, and then Shedletsky had a letter waiting for us, that would make a lot more sense, because at least Shedletsky would have known who we were, and by going to the future, then he would have had time to put it somewhere. This is the exact opposite. We are in the future, coming back to the past, and Shedletsky already has something waiting for us. And he knows us by name. So he has abilities and powers and motivations that are so beyond what we understand him to be right now. It is terrifying. And I have no doubt in my mind that he is a villain. He is setting up this entire scenario for things to play out this way. Think about this. The first thing that happens when the Shadow Dominus guy sees us is he talks about how the player is special, how the player is important, and then he goes on and rambles about, dancing, choreography, let's go back in time stuff. We go to the present, we go to the past. Shedletsky is always telling us how special we are. He's telling us how important it is that we collect all the swords. He can't do it himself, he's injured. He got injured by the guy who sent us back in time in the first place, because he is the guy that had Builderman. That's how he was able to recognize that Builderman got captured. That's how he could say that. So, what in the world? I want someone to genuinely sit down and try and explain to me how Shedletsky is justified or just a good guy, or how he's not hiding anything. This is so deliberate. You take all this information I'm telling you right now, you apply it, and also talk about all the information that we talked about in the previous video. There's just no doubt in my mind. Shedletsky is a villain. He is hiding something from the player. This is going to be a major plot twist within the game. There is no other way around it. The developers are not stupid. These are not plot holes. This isn't the continuity being messed up. This is intentional writing. It is brilliant. Honestly, it's very brilliant, and I'm kind of losing my mind talking about all this, so I think I'm going to stop here. If you enjoyed this video, please be sure to like and subscribe. I'm sorry that it was just kind of a big, yelling, rambling, ranting rant, but I just wanted to get it out there. So I'll see you guys all next time, and bye.